things we have to do start right now with conservation. Thank you.
Okay, a couple of things. Let's go back 50 years or so. When 1963, I remember I was living off of Corway and 13th Avenue, 2130. I still remember the address. That house was raised and it had a crawl space. Air flowed through. There was a vent that came in through the house and it cooled the house. Okay, that house had solar panel and a water heater. So, you know, this is not new, guys. It's not new. It's been, but what happened? We need to get the county to enforce that every new construction has solar energy power in their homes. That would be a solution working forward towards that 50-year goal. Let me also bring back something that in a conversation with Charles LaPrat, our agricultural liaison in the county. He says that a crop of boniato, sweet potatoes, in Homestead can yield twice the yield of sugarcane for ethanol. He says that would be a great cottage industry for Homestead. Okay? Why aren't we doing that? Why are we providing the incentive for our local farmers to grow boniato and be a major producer of ethanol? Brazil got the message and became totally energy self-sufficient. That's what we need to do. We have to have that leadership that brings these questions into the county and we provide results.
Can I have a comment? Sure. We need to encourage people to adopt different forms of energy. We need to encourage solar power. But the minute you begin mandating, what you're doing is you're adding a big, huge layer of cost to people who can't afford it. So if you're going to begin mandating, then you need to provide the funds in order for, you can't just have an unfunded mandate that's passed on to our residents. So you need to have other sources, so you have to be careful. And by the way, they are growing boniato in Homestead. They are doing it.
Not for ethanol.
They are doing it right now for the, and also consideration of ethanol. Yes, yes.
All right. Who else would like to give everyone a chance to follow up?
Linda, yes, and Abdullah, I respect you a lot, but I was going to challenge the same thing as Linda. I was going to describe really what the issue here is. If you go ahead and say, you pick your winner, we're going to mandate solar, you know, you're closing off the innovation that should happen. I don't believe that it's our job to predict the energy uses 50 years down the road. I think it's our job to promote the innovation and experimentation that can find those methods. I think that they're there. Many of them, Abdullah, as you said, are things that have been done in the past. Others are new. We need to make it easier for that to happen. And this is back to where we were with permitting. And this is something which is very much in the domain of what Miami-Dade County does. You have to make it easier to do new things. The stuff that we are working on with Katie's office and with Sean here is to allow you to have a structure, a green structure built the same as our house, which had a single Miami-Dade County NOA, which is a big deal. That means there is one inspection when you're done, and it can be truly easy to build something. If you do that, they will come. In other words, the market will be there to do a lot of experimentation.
Does anyone else would like to follow up? If we could try to keep these at about a minute.
Well, you know, I think one of the important points here that needs to be brought into one of the earlier comments is you can't limit yourself, as you were talking about, you just can't pick a winner and go with it. But at the same time, too, we talked about a huge investment in one, which was the nuclear plant. And, you know, it's kind of like, why are we picking a winner? Why aren't we doing new things? And I don't think we've really heard everybody's just going to go solar. But what we have right now is a tremendous opportunity to do that through the PACE program. PACE also allows you to do other retrofitting of your home that's not just solar but also saves. But also you need to stay flexible on things for the new technology. And if we just pick a winner and go with it, the problem is you don't have that flexibility. You know what, 50 years from now, you know, we may have wind power if people will tolerate the sight of the windmills in their area. You may have geothermal, you may have tides, you may have tide power a lot quicker than you wanted here. But it all has to do, but it's all about being flexible and making the proper investments.
Would anyone else like to follow up?
Just one thing.
Yeah, just to remind everyone, we are the sun capital of the world. And that's one of the assets. We need to take that asset and make use of it.
We're also the hurricane capital of the world. Solar panels raise.
Now, this time we'll start in the middle. Ms. Flynn, we'll start with you.
Great, which way am I passing, right or left?
Why don't why don't we just go every other person? We'll go to, so mix it up, so make it as confusing as possible.
Maybe do a quick step the other way.
What action, if any, should Florida take to address sea level rise and any effects from climate change?
The state on its own can't do much. I mean, we are a big player in the world. We need to lead by example. It's important who we send to Congress. It's important as to the actions we take to, we can do all the conservation in the world here in Florida. And, when the Brazilian rainforests go, there's a worldwide problem there. So, I think the only thing we can do is show leadership. I think that we've got to maybe push ahead harder to bring the new technologies. We've talked about green-collar jobs. We've talked about I think the way to show it is we've got to show the positive economic impact. People follow the dollar. So if we become the leaders in the green technologies, if we bring down the greenhouse gases by promoting, and we show people that they're better for it, then you should have the spillover effect. I know people are even questioning where sea level rise is real, but I don't want to find out the hard way. But it's a tough question. What are we going to do? We can't change the behavior of 49 other states, of every other country in the world, and all that impacts back on us.
Why don't we go over to Michelle?
Florida is very unique in that we're so flat at sea level. And one of the things I've been doing a little bit of research on is that I discovered that the U.S. Geological Service is doing a study right now, and they're looking at sea level. They're trying to create a hydrology model that's going to have affect surface flow, groundwater flow, and it's going to be peer reviewed, and it's going to be available in 2011. And so once we have that peer model, and that peer model being reviewed, we can actually discuss solidly on what measures that we can take in order to address these issues. And so, when you take a look at other cities, when you take a look at other states, Florida is unique in that we're uniquely situated in that we are at sea level. So I don't care what side of the issue you fall on environmental issues. I don't care what side it is. Florida needs to be looked at differently than any other state because of how unique we are. We do need to set the example. We need to lead by example. We need to take a look at the hydrology model, take a look at the hydrology study. And let me tell you, if the UDB, when we talk about the urban development boundary line, that is going to, if anything has to be adjusted on the UDB, it's going to be for the protection of the water, for the groundwater flow, for evacuation, for the canal system. That's the only time that we should be discussing the urban development boundary line, based on the hydrology model, based on the results of 2011. And then we can discuss that further. Thank you.
Come over here, Danny. We'll just hop over. Like I said, it's confusing as possible.
We'll follow the leaders. The American public has been responding to these concerns. We see people driving smart cars and smaller cars, and this is a good thing. It shows that there's a social consciousness about all of us. And so we're taking measures that we're being made aware of as far as it concerns the ozone and emissions and what might be contributing, among other factors, to the rise of the sea level. It might be very naive thinking, it might be somewhat passive thinking, but I'm not concerned in the long run. And the reason I say that is that even if, as it may be projected, whatever it is, say 70 years, 100 years from now, they say we may be underwater, 70 years, 100 years from now, we're going to have new technologies. And we'll address those as time goes on, things that we can't begin to conceive of. That's why we have brilliant minds that think ahead, the Jules Verne's and such, to be able to get that. Maybe it'll be some sort of, there's no way to know, because we can't conceive of that right now. But I'm just not concerned in the long run that it could be a real catastrophic problem, because we respond to things. And we'll see what happens.